Welcome to the Cathedral of St. Matthew the Apostle, especially those visiting with us today. Today we celebrate the Eucharist with the blessing and distribution of ashes. We are also heeding Pope Francis's appeal that we pray in a special way for peace in Ukraine and Eastern Europe. You have just heard a hymn for God's protection of Ukraine as part of the prelude. After communion, we will sing another Ukrainian Lenten hymn, recalling Mary's suffering as she stood at the base of the cross.
Brothers and sisters in the Lord, it is a special honor and privilege for us here at St. Matthew's Cathedral to welcome Archbishop Borys Gudziak, the Archbishop of the Ukrainian Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Archbishop Borys is a very dear friend, and in his presence, we have the presence of our Ukrainian brothers and sisters, especially those who are facing such violence at this moment. Rend your hearts, not your garments. Most of us here, unfortunately, probably know what it's like to receive heart-rending news. The sudden and unexpected death of a dear loved one, the shocking discovery of a serious personal injury, an unexpected terrible tragedy that affects the lives of a great number of people, such as that which is so devastating now, the people of Ukraine. We all know what heart-rending news of that kind is like. Today, the Church asks us to listen carefully to another type of heart-rending news. On Ash Wednesday, which initiates the season when Catholics are invited to consider our own sinfulness and God's own gracious invitation to return wholeheartedly to Him. Lent is the time when we are invited to rend our sinful hearts and honestly to admit to ourselves about the walls that we have erected that still separate us from God and from one another. This Ash Wednesday, we are all painfully aware of the violence that has returned to our world with the brutal war that is raging in Ukraine. Just seeing those heart-rending photographs of people fleeing their homes in panic should call all of us and cause all of us to shudder in disbelief. Our Ukrainian sisters and brothers should be uppermost in our prayers and in our affection during this entire season of Lent. Our penitential practices are directed to help us to take charge of our lives, and to redirect them toward the Lord with God's grace. Our Lenten works of charity are meant to deepen our sense of unity and concern for the poor in our midst. Our Lenten prayer is yet another opportunity for us to come to understand better our own hearts and how much we still need the Lord in our lives today. Rend your hearts, not your garments. Some garments can be very expensive, but our hearts can be repaired. Lent is a time to consider important matters: our relationship with the Lord and our relationship with one another. I hope that this heart-rending news will better prepare us to celebrate the Easter glory of the risen Christ.